All right, good morning, afternoon, and evening, everyone, and welcome all around the world to the hot Summer Jam sales event. This event does not just include land sales, of course, but will go on for the next 5 weeks of land sales, and that's what we are here for. 2 hours ahead of the sale. I'll be answering all of your questions here live on this stream, and hopefully optimizing your PC, your login, your internet, all of those things to best increase your chances of seeing the 1x1 lands and premium lands unlock so that you can make your purchase here today. I'll also be talking about what we're doing over the next 5 weeks, what you can look forward to, where you should be on the screen to, again, best increase your chances of getting those lands, and any other questions you have about the metaverse, about VoxEdit, about the game maker, or anything else, even if you just want to ask why I'm wearing this shirt today. It's all good. I'll be here for you. Let's party. How you doing today, everybody? It's gonna be a magical day. Hammer Mike, welcome to the chat there on Twitch. Guys, if you're wondering, if you're following us over on YouTube and you're saying to yourself, what's going on, Joe? Why aren't you live on youtube.com? Just a warning. It may pop up at any time, it may come up, but for some reason our services aren't syncing up with YouTube properly this morning, so I apologize for that. We're available on Twitch. We fixed that up. We got all sorts of stuff taken care of, ready to go. Touche, hello, welcome to the chat. Xiaoliz, welcome to the chat as well. Once again, I'll be answering your questions today. I'm going to do regularly, just about every 30 minutes, starting in 15 minutes from now. We're going to cover all of the major support issues I have highlighted in previous sales, and it seemed to help people a great deal in the last sale. The top 5 problems that you may have that could get in your way, that could prevent you from potentially getting your sale finalized, completed, so that you could pick up that 1x1 land. So again, we're going to go over that. We're going to avoid the bottlenecks in this stream. We're going to show you everything and help you starting with this here. I prefer to use this website, but of course you can use any resource that's available to you that helps you manage your understanding of the Ethereum blockchain. On etherscan.io, you can see roughly the median gas price. A lot of people have asked. I'm going to pull this up as, since I said median, it reminds me of medium. Talk about the Summer Game Jam sales starting in just 2 hours from now. But you can see here on etherscan.io, we have the median gas price. This is the average going rate of gas that you should set inside your Ethereum transaction processor, whatever that may be. Maybe that's MetaMask, maybe it's Bitsky, maybe it's Arcane Wallet, or something else. But you can see here on the gas tracker, this changes live on Etherscan, so that's why I like them. That's why I like to keep them up. But the average GUI affects the rate of transaction fees essentially on the ETH network, because you are powering this proof of work network as it goes. Dane Dim, subtitles are not working. Oh no. Sorry about that. Arctic Shock, yes, the YouTube version is glitched. I don't know exactly what's going on. I might be able to restart everything, but as we had people already in this chat, in this channel, I did have those issues. Good morning, Game Maker Academy, or good evening, since you are coming all the way from around the world, some 18 hours in the future. How is it in the future, by the way? Maybe you could give me the predictions on where ETH is. Just kidding. 18 hours in the future. So we have, anyhow, the complexity of a transaction today. When you process a transaction on Ethereum, you are processing smart contract transactions most often, unless you are sending Ethereum from one person to the other. And the complexity of the transaction affects the fee that you must pay in order to have the network put in the work, right? In your proof of work network. So a more complex transaction like what we're doing today, where when you click on this land here, you can see the Zed-Run monument, the Motodao monument, the DJ Blondish, Peacock, Skeleton, Metakey, Bot, and Foodie McDowell. These are all NFTs. These are in a smart contract container that include those 5 NFTs and 1 land NFT. You can see here on the preview image. So in order to have all 6 of those transactions processed flawlessly, where you pay in sand and you pay the ETH gas fee, the ETH gas fee is used to decipher the complexity and deliver it to you without concern, without worry, right? So this is roughly the same cost as a Uniswap swap. And at a low of 5 GWI at this second, an average of 12, high of 16, your pop-up will ask you to pay roughly $1.94 for a low speed transaction that would take 16 minutes, or $65 for an average speed transaction that takes 2.5 minutes, or a 30-second transaction for $5.81 US dollar, right? And this comes out again in Ethereum, so there will be an appropriate conversion to what the going Ethereum rate is. And again, this changes second to second. So as we get closer to the sale, I'll keep you updated on this regularly so that you can have an understanding of what your fee may be on top of the rate that you expect. Now, with an example of these arts that I just mentioned, these NFTs, these assets that you can use inside your game or use them for trade or whatever purpose you like. You can see here in Wave 1, we have 810 standard 1x1 lands, which go for 1,011 sand tokens, and 270 premium lands that would include the NFTs. The rate for that, 4,683 sand total to get all 5 of those wonderful, artistic, usable in-game, in your experience assets, and the land NFT that normally for 1,011. You get those together for that rate if you select any one of these yellow spaces and you pick that up today. Otherwise, all of the gray spaces will also unlock when the timer hits 0, and they include the 1x1 land NFT for 1,011 sand. Each of those transactions being a smart contract, also including the small amount of ETH. Great rates though today, folks. If it's your first time purchasing sand, in the past, these gas rates have been upwards of hundreds of GWI, processing an average transaction fee of $50 to $100 in the past. I remember some of my first land sales when I was picking them up long before I worked for the Sandbox, was here with you on these live streams. I remember seeing these fees ballpark, like I say, $50 to $100. And again, can be worth that. Luckily, we don't have to deal with that today. We've got some great rates on ETH. And in the future, it seems that may only get better as they're changing to a proof of stake system to process tens of thousands more transactions per second. Arctic Shock says, last sale I paid just $65 average for 9 lands. Interesting. So we'll see how it goes here today, and hopefully it'll be good. And let me address some of these questions. I'm doing well. voxel-based also coming over from Australia. I see you in the chat. How are you, Andy Ritchie? Let's see. Dane Dim says, my bank won't let me buy sand. Well, Dane Dim, if you are having an issue, and you may be like me, in the United States, I live in Washington State, and I have some restrictions on the exchanges available to me. Of course, we've added dozens and dozens of new exchanges, so I could probably do my research and find something that's compatible in Washington. I believe HitBTC is one of those we added, many others. And I may be wrong about that. I have to double check the list. You can find them right here on for sand. This and see the list of exchanges. If you don't have sand, you can see markets that they are available. BinanceCrypto.com, that one's available in my state. I'd probably be able to get it there. If you can get your hands on Ethereum, just straight Ethereum, you also have an opportunity where you could go here. to the Uniswap V2. You could select your token and you say, I have some ETH and I want to get some sand. You trade in an ETH and it gives you roughly how much sand you'll get that. And if there's an opportunity, of course, you can get it on the V3 version of the network. This link takes you to Uniswap V2. Different pricing structure on that for transaction fees. Just keep that in mind. But these happen peer-to-peer, essentially, right? In a decentralized nature, you can make a trade for sand if you have restrictions, but you were allowed to buy ETH, something like that. This is an opportunity for you, Dane. And again, hopefully you're seeing this. I understand that normally you have closed captions on, so we try to stay compatible with that, but I'm having an issue with YouTube today, and I don't have the app for closed captioning when it's just me. Alex typically has that up. Hopefully we can get that. Let's see. We got some questions here. Just will cost ETH though, right? I can have a normal amount of sand tokens. That's right, Jordy. So for today's sale, you will need the appropriate amount of sand that you see here on this chart. If you're looking for just a 1x1 land and you're not going to pick up the premium lands that include the NFTs like this, if you're just looking for one of these gray land spaces, then you need the 1011 sand. That's it, plus the Ethereum gas as the transaction fee for processing on the Ethereum network. It's pretty low cost today. Again, I've seen this upwards of 50, 100, 200 Gwei on a day. Hopefully we don't see this change too much as we get into the sale. We've got about hour 46 left. But this is probably the first of 5 points that I'll highlight today. And again, I'll go over some more soon. But Touche asks, where is everyone going to attempt to buy their first land? Maybe we can all coordinate and not step on each other's toes. And that's interesting. That's an interesting strategy, Touche, and we'll see how that works out in the chat. We'll see if people kind of want to plot their spaces and see the first one that they're going to click. I know many users look to purchase 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I had one user in the live stream earlier today when we were doing the game testing live stream that we do every Wednesday. They were talking about trying to get somewhere in the ballpark of like 17, 18 lands. Again, with the limited quantity of lands that'll be on sale today, I don't know if anybody could click 18 times to be faster than everyone else in the world that may make this attempt today. But we'll see what happens. We'll see how it goes. You may have that lightning trigger figure, and if you can get that, then good on you. All right. I want to get 65 lands. PG Live, let me tell you, if you can do that, you're a legend. Legend today. It is going to be an adventure. We're going to have a lot of people, of course, online. So one thing that I would stress is that don't worry if you do miss out today. If you do not have that lightning trigger finger to click on the land, get the pop out, click book, make your transaction happen. If you miss out today, there will be more opportunities. You can see the white outline around these lands represents what is available for sale today. If you're asking yourself what's available for sale next week and the week after, you can see here on the medium.com article, it talks about what wave number 2 is. Wave number 2 happens on my father's birthday, July 1st. So I'll say happy birthday to him probably in the chat here. Wave number 2 features the Dingaling and Gutter Cats estates. So you can see those here on the map. This one right in this area. This is wave number 2. Then we've got wave number 3 coming after. This is the Migdol and Shrine of Truth space. So this number 3 is a bit smaller in terms of total lands, but you can see Migdol down here, right? So this space would be available in wave 3. That comes up on 8th of July. And then we've got wave 4 coming up July 15th, including ZenFT, Ethlings, MetaKey. See that here. Side. And that includes this space here on the bottom, coming up and through across. And then we'll be finishing up with wave number 5 with Blondish, Motodao, and a mystery edition. This large space, large feature. blondish right here. You can see that space. So all of these are going to open up, finish, and then also you have a little 3x3. Has a little bit of extra 3x3 space down in this region. So good on them. Picked up a bit of a larger partnership. Dane Dim says the sandbox lands are massive. Imagine what that looks like in game. And I'll tell you, we are currently working on getting that season content finished, getting the working on different features for season 0. We're working on opening up the metaverse for you soon, which is largely featured right here inside of this space, that the sandbox space at 0.0. This is our launching off point. This is our early alpha testing point. I've got ambassadors who've walked around in there, and I showed it to them over the last few weeks, people who've never seen it before. And the first thing that happened when they stepped into the space is they just went like, whoa, this is way bigger than I thought it would be. And we were in a 2x2, right, with all the details, all the things that the artists have been able to create. And then not only that, but after getting them into the 2x2, we walked into some of the adjacent social hubs, some of those based around factions. And if you've not heard about this, come and join us on Saturdays, on Mondays, on Wednesdays. We could talk more about that. But they walked into these spaces, and having gone from just one social hub to the next social hub, they realized the true scope of the sandbox is going to be massive. There's loads of games to play, lots of things to do. And these, what we have available right now, are just internally developed games. When the user-generated content opens up, when the metaverse truly goes wide and all your games can be published out there, all these great games we've seen in the Game Jam submissions, Game Jam number 4 just wrapping up this week, you know, it's going to be wild. There's going to be so much to do, so much great and fun games to play. I honestly can't wait to see what you guys can come up with and what fills up the spaces, because I've seen a lot of cool looking things that you might have seen around if we're talking about different companies, and they're like art style showcases. Those are super popular in the crypto space. But then when you take that dynamic and you add it on top of, I could walk into a beautiful art showcase in one space, take a leap into the next space, and suddenly have this immersive game experience with these great stories and these great arts being showcased in a totally different way. That's something that's truly special about the sandbox. I honestly, I'm seeing these things being made each and every day. I'm seeing them go into the gallery and inside the game maker. And our tools, you know, we're only in alpha stage right now. We're not even in full version 1.0. It's only going to get better as time goes along. So glad to have you with us here. Let's see let's keep up with the chat here. My game is over an hour long and done in a 1x1, voxel-based says, with regards to their Game Jam submission. And yeah, the 1x1 space. Again, if you're not familiar with these spaces, if this is your first land that you're picking up, I had some photos, and they're quite old now. I'd probably have to dig them up out of my Twitter for long ago. But a 1x1 land is 96 meters wide, where a person is 2 meters tall. It's 96 meters deep, and it's 128 meters of vertical space. So it's huge in terms of what you can do just on this 1x1 tile here. And if you take that into consideration with your designs, with what you're making, you know, this preview image here that says download game maker showcases just a small fraction of the scale that you would get in a 1x1 space. And then again, for those picking up estates in these auctions over on OpenSea or something like that, you're seeing just so much more space to work with. You'll be able to design vast games, you know, huge experiences. And it would take some time if you're getting these larger spaces. Just keep that in mind. You may be seeking out artists. You may be seeking out game designers for those estate spaces that you pick up. Or, of course, you may be designing them yourself with the Game Maker tool, with box edit, that sort of thing. But if you are looking for artists and you're looking for game designers, go over to our Discord channel, where you'll be able to find nice, well-skilled artists, well-skilled creators that have been working with this tool for almost a year now. I think that tool's been out, maybe a little bit longer. We've seen at least the Game Maker tool, the Vox Edit tools. They've been out there. Let's see here. I'm going to see if I can answer some questions in the chat. Shoot Hotshot says, I wonder how they will manage the game to run smooth on a massive land with a ton of assets. Well, Shoot Hotshot, right now, inside the Game Maker, and this is what I was talking about when I say you may need to potentially hire people to work to build game experiences. So right now, the Game Maker is set in order to make sure that your experience is smooth as a player. The maximum size is a 4x4. And so if you imagine, 96 meters times 4, we're going across here, then we're going vertical up to here. So you can see from here down to the right corner, the bottom right corner there where it touches Z and the on sale at OpenSea. Those 16 total spaces could be your game. As things get drawn out a certain distance, they get optimized out of the game intentionally. So two things kind of happen, but the critical thing here is that if you have an asset that's too far away to see, maybe a tree, maybe an NPC, something like that, it just gets kind of turned off. So your computer isn't loading the polys, and later on, optimization, of course, will continue on our end as we continue to develop the tools and the game client. We will make it so that eventually it's all mobile compatible, so our user base can stay really strong. If you're not familiar with the Sandbox's history, we have a mobile app called the Sandbox Evolution that has some 40 million downloads. 40 million, right? So lots of potential users. We know how to access them on mobile, and at least we have a history of doing so. And of course, those people will be here in playing your experiences completely free if you should choose so. So the goal, again, is to optimize so that it does work for that. Currently, that 4x4 space. So let's say you purchase this 6x6 on OpenSea.io. Well, that means you're going to have essentially a 2x2 border up and around the side of your lands that will still need to be designed, need some experience in it. And maybe the big 4x4 is your game, and the 2x2 is your art showcase, and you've got another 4x4 that's a social hub that you design, something like that. Or you have a large single player experience and some smaller multiplayer experience as those features become available for the Game Maker. You've got a lot of different things to consider there. So let's see. There we go. PG Live PT says that they have 62 lands now and need creators to help. So PG Live, go check out the Discord channel. Look for those creators, those artists. There's a lot of different interesting things here. voxel-based says, hi Joseph, I saw the Sandbox Bootcamp. How do I get involved in that? So participate.com is our featured kind of partner for that program. So you can get Sandbox certified if you are somebody who already has the skills to pay the bills when it comes to making those games, and you want a way to show off, hey, you know what you're doing. You can get on with them. They do a workshop as well for those who do not already have familiarity with the tools, so you can get yourself Sandbox certified, be able to showcase, hey, you do know what you're doing, you can make this content, and that sort of thing. So that would be really good for anybody who wants to check it out. And again, you get that kind of seal of approval, and we do work with them directly to go over those programs. So they have been working every other week. You see them featured. We've had them over here on our twitch.tv streams. We host them. You can also follow them at Inside Participate on Twitch if you like, to kind of see what they have going on if you're curious about it, but not sure if you want to go through. So the time is now 1 hour and 35 minutes left. I'm going to go over again once about every 30 minutes the 5 key core things that I would recommend based on the user feedback to help you get a land today, or at least best optimize your chances to do so. With step number 1, you can see in the top right of this screen, you can see the Sand logo. You can see that the balance on this wallet, my wallet on this computer, and I use 2 computers, so this is a totally different wallet. That's why it says 0.0 instead of my sand balance. I, just like you, will be trying to pick up some lands today because I also like to create games, like to create great experiences, and the people who work for the Sandbox don't get a special edge. We don't get a special advantage. We pick them up when you pick them up if we're interested in making content, because we feel like that's just in the interest of fairness. So step number 1 is make sure that you have enough sand in the wallet that you intend to purchase land with. So when you sign in, you go to the Me section here, you'll see a wallet at the top. You'll need to have sand in that wallet, which will likely be in your MetaMask account if you use MetaMask, or it's in your Bitski account if you signed in with the leftmost option, or it's inside your Arcane wallet account if you use Social to sign in. Okay, so you get the sand balance in there that you need. Again, if you're buying a 1x1 land, you'll need 1,011 sand for each 1x1 you pick up. If you're picking up a premium land, which includes the 1x1 land and these beautiful NFT arts right here that you see on the screen, you'll need to have 4,683 sand to do so for each premium land you want to have a transaction process. Keeping in mind also that for each square here that you see on the screen, whether it be the large estates that are built out into a smart contract or the 1x1s that you have, each one of those is a smart contract as written up, which means that each transaction that you process will have a small Ethereum on-chain gas fee to process. Again, right now, it's looking pretty good. Etherscan.io showing the average Y just 10. So the average Uniswap swap is about $3.90 for a transaction for each one of these buy orders that you make today. So that's a nice rate. Again, in the past, we've seen gas 100, 200 GWI. So it's a beautiful morning for me. Maybe it's a beautiful evening for you if you're one of our Australian viewers right now. But in terms of gas, everyone's been pretty happy about this for the last couple of weeks now. So you've got sand. You've got yourself some ETH in your account. You're thinking, Joe, you said there's 5 steps. What else could there possibly be? Well, critically, you want to make sure that you're signed in again. If you're not signed in already, or you're double checking that you're signed into the website, because your web browser may be caching data, which means holding in temporary data to make it load faster for you. So you want to make sure you're actually signed into the website. That's important. That's step number 3. Step number 4 is making sure you're actually signed into your MetaMask or other wallet service. So open up your wallet service, type in your password. If it pops up and says, hey, it's been a while, because the website may be reading a sand balance from your wallet, but it's only reading kind of what it last knew. We don't keep your sand inside the website. We don't keep your ETH inside the website. The website just reads your Web3 compatible wallet app like a MetaMask to say, hey, what did you have last that I knew about, right? So we can process these transactions as well as possible with that integration. So again, now you've got sand, you've got ETH, you've signed in, and you've signed in on your wallet app. Now you've got 4 transactions. What's number 5? Okay, so you guys have told me in the past that maybe you're having Wi-Fi trouble, or you didn't know. Maybe you've been like me during land sale. Let's see, where was it? I was in this land sale, the Gemini land sale, myself personally trying to buy at the Gemini land sale. And during this sale, I didn't listen to my own suggestions because I was here live streaming with you guys. And in this sale, I didn't restart my router. Folks, that's step number 5. If you're watching now and you're thinking, I haven't done that in weeks, months. Some routers, just like web browsers, cache temporary data in order to help the web browser load faster or your apps load faster or whatnot, your router may be saving temporary data. And as such, when the website auto refreshes at the end of this timer, your router may say, I already have that information. I don't need it. But in fact, it will not have the right information and it may not load properly. So if you haven't yet, I fully expect that the viewer count hopefully will drop on this. Restart your router if it's been a while. Unless, of course, you already know that your network is good to go. That's totally up to you. You don't have to do this, but I have seen users report that they've had a higher quality connection and they were more likely to pick up land as they intended to by doing that. And you see voxel-based set it in here much earlier. So it's good. Good to see. Alien KOOJ says, so it's a bit weird that lands with the same location are premium and not premium. And I want to make sure that everybody understands what premium land means, right? Obviously, you can see that the premium lands are generally centered around locations for the most part, right? You can see they're kind of on the borders of other Sandbox territory, maybe large estates, maybe featured estates. You can see that. So to some effect, premium lands are based on location. But essentially, when we say premium lands, that just means that they're also featuring the additional NFTs available to them. So these NFTs are exclusive to these summer sales. These NFTs are exclusive to premium land spaces. You won't be able to get them anywhere else unless you pick them up on a third-party market, something like that. But they're limited quantity NFTs that are only available as the bundle. Can't be reproduced. We've got rules against that. So you'll only ever see them here in this way. And I don't know if you noticed, but in this preview, you can see the scale of the Zed horse. That's an avatar asset. Huge, right? Some of these assets, they vary in scale, they vary in scope, size, that sort of thing. But available only here. They still include a standard land. So if you're looking at this later, let's say maybe you don't get it today. You wanted to get a premium land and you missed out. I would say a word of caution to going on third-party marketplaces. We can't moderate a third-party market. We can only work with what we have right here inside our own sales. These are our smart contracts. These will always include the NFTs you see here. But if you're picking it up on a third-party market later and someone says premium land, make sure that the price is what you expect and that it very clearly lists all of the NFTs that you expect, or a price that you're okay with paying if they don't include some NFTs. So I've seen in the past that some people have picked up a premium land and then they've said, you know, maybe I don't know. We had a Smurf sale, right? Long time ago. Let's say they didn't like the one of these Smurf assets that came with it. They may have sold that one and they kept the other things. Later on down the road, if they sold the bundle, it would be missing that item, but it's made very clear on those third-party sites what NFTs are included. So if you miss out today and you're looking at third-party marketplaces because you're super excited, you're ready to get in, pick up a land and have it reserved for you, then just keep that in mind. That premium lands only really signifies that it comes with these exclusive NFTs. It is a land NFT separately, just like any other, but location to some effect. So yes, MRF86, I can definitely show you the prices again. You can see that the land 1x1s, which are the gray lands on the map, 1,011 sand would be what the cost is to pick up the 1x1 land. The premium lands, which include those additional NFTs, are 4,683 sand. The estates that are available in this sale, these are at auction over on OpenSea.io. So you'll want to check that out. If you click on any given land, you should be able to get the link and you can click buy estate there and you can put your bid in if you're so interested in doing so. These auctions last a certain amount of time. Let me go ahead and go over to one just to show you kind of what that is. It looks like it's not online yet. I apologize for that. That link should come on right as the sale opens. That's typically the case. Sometimes a little early, sometimes a little later, but they'll go for about 24, 48 hours, depending on the auction. And at the very end of those auctions, for the last 10 minutes, if there's a bid placed, they get extended another 10 minutes, I believe. Maybe it's 15. Forgive me there. So, sure, Paco, let's see. When we talk about location can be important. It just depends on your perception of that, right? Or you as a designer, as a showcase, as a marketer. There are different advantages to locations. So some of the most popular lands that we have or have had in the past during these sales came during a similar sale we called the Moon Sale, or the Atari sale that came right before it in Wave 3. Obviously, Atari is an internationally known brand, and people were very excited when we had the Atari space. But let's say that you're a user who's never heard of the Sandbox before, and you're looking for an experience. You're looking for something to go play. Brand recognition can be important in that regard. Or, let's say for the last sale, you came in, and in the last sale, we featured the Bored Ape Yacht Club as one of our featured partners. So the Bored Ape community came through, and they were super excited about lands, and they wanted to gobble up everything they could in the area. And it was important to them to have space around the Bored Ape Yacht Club, because people in this case that come from the Bored Ape community would recognize that brand. They would probably click on this space, and when the metaverse goes live, go into that space as one of the first spaces, if not the first space that they go to. So if there's an experience for those in that community to be in, if there's an experience inside this Atari space down here, you may see people go, hey, I love Atari, go there, play around in those experiences. And then how it works inside the metaverse is that you have an opportunity either to browse via a map similar to this, but zoomed in a lot more, or you can walk to the edge of a space, and when you reach the edge, you can push the E key on your keyboard, and it'll say, you're about to go into this game. And 5 seconds later, boom, you are teleported into the next instance, into the next game experience, right? So with that regard, location can be important. Again, if you have somebody who's brand recognizing, and they see Zed Run, and they think to themselves, I love Zed Run, I'm going to go play in here, see what they have to offer. Maybe I'll play around with the horsies on that. And then they leave that space and they want to go to a nice adjacent space. That may be where location matters. Now, as a game creator, maybe you're not worried about it. Maybe you think, I know what I'm doing. I can make a great game. I can market that game. I have, experience having done this. Or you've made enough games and you know enough people in our community that you feel like you can get a good following. So maybe this space right here next to this on sale at OpenSea, maybe this space gets one of the best games in the metaverse. It's one of the best marketed games in the metaverse. Then adjacent location matters in a different way, right? Because people will want to be around you and your game. So again, to each their own, totally up to you. If you consider location important, then awesome, pick up as close as you can to the place that you were looking for, because for some it can be important. So good morning, Ardetst. Welcome to the show. See you in the chat. Yes, Arctic Shock 1. Arctic Shock 1 asks, Alex, one of our many artists that work on NFTs and other assets for the Sandbox, he's featured on these live streams. He's here with me each and every Wednesday and Saturday on this stream. Alex broke the rules for that NFT, because this NFT that you see here, this Zed Run NFT, which is based on a model that they sent to us, is larger in height than any asset, I believe, that has ever been created for the Sandbox. It breaks some vertical guidelines that we have. They're strong suggestions for optimization, because it just looks so darn good this way. far as I could tell when I had later conversation with Alex. It's like, look, I couldn't do it any other way because it just looks so good. So if you want a statue like this that's literally larger than some of our cityscape buildings, that could be the asset for you today. We've got right now a going rate 9 guai as we 13 guai, which is an average transaction of about $5. So it's going to bounce up and bounce down as we get closer here. It looks like you can get 1,011 sand for a pretty good rate right now, about 20 cents per sand. So everything good deals today for what we've seen in the past. This is great. Love to see it. It looks like Arctic Shock says they have 17,500 sand ready to go. So I hope the best of luck to you. Hopefully you can pick up the lands that you're looking for today. Let's see. And I want to make sure that we get questions answered as quickly. This information will make that horse statue price rise. You know, possibly. Like I say, that there's different things to consider when you look at different assets, different kinds of value. We had a partner that was announced just a little while ago. What was the name? Darn it. My Neighbor Alice was a partner that was announced a little while ago, right? And this has nothing to do with this sale, really. But My Neighbor Alice is similar in the vein to Animal Crossing game, something to that degree, maybe a Farmville, if you're thinking about that. Is another NFT-based title that we partnered with recently. And My Neighbor Alice is a cute farmstead kind of game. And so I'm looking at this little piggy right here, thinking to myself, you know, and forgive me for off top of my head not remembering the McDull, right? So McDull featured right here as one of the NFTs we have. When you click on this, you can see it says Foodie McDull. Okay, so if I have the piggy NFT from Foodie McDull, and I have a potential My Neighbor Alice NFT coming on down the way, and I put those together, maybe I've got a great looking farmstead game that I wanted to make. We saw some users in the chat there. So there's different kinds of value. Of course, everyone's going to perceive value differently. I know in the last sale we had some dead mouse content. We had some others, and forgive me, Richie Houghton. Richie Houghton goes under many different names, so I didn't want to get it wrong there. But so let's say maybe Motodao appeals to you and DJ Blondish appeals to you because you already have the Dead Mouse NFT, you've already got the Richie Houghton NFTs, and you want to be a musical collector. So you can see different value from these different assets in all these different ways, and they can all come together as you get closer to that metaverse launch and you're making your games or you're making your experiences. Maybe you want to make yourself a stage for people to later host NFT-based concerts on. You can see these opportunities are building as we continue to build the tools and get something bigger and better going into the future here. So yeah, I agree. Arctic Shock says the Dead Mouse content is awesome. I had a lot of we've showcased it on the live stream just a little while ago, but you know, the helmet being able to be put directly onto your character is just like chef's kiss right there. The Daggers TV asks, what areas are going live on this sale again? So right here, front and center on your screen, you should be able to see this. My head is covering the giant sandbox portion. That's good because that's not relevant to this. But right in the center, you can see on the article, if you're interested in checking out the future, wave number 1 is the 810 lands and 270 premium lands that are for sale around these major NFT projects, hash masks, and Zed Run. So if you go back on the map, you can see we use these thick white borders to represent the block of spaces that are available today. Zed Run, hash masks, right there, thick white border. So we're going all the way over here to the right of this large space, just a little bit above. Of course, all these that say on sale at OpenSea will unlock for the auction to start when the sale starts. So if you're looking for these larger spaces and you want to go at auction, rather than trying to be first in line. That's great. Those will open up soon. But you can see these spaces all the way up to this corner. This will open up today. And then next week, if you scroll down just a bit on the medium.com/sandbox-game, check out the article. Wave number 2 is the Ding-a-ling and Gutter Cats content. So that bit to the north here, you can see the Gutter Cats logo. You can see the Ding-a-ling. You can see the other auctions that will become available. That 24 by 24 will be on auction during next week's sale. All this space will open up next week. And then, of course, you got week 3. Wave 3 is the McDull Shine of Truth. Wave 4 is NFT, Ethling's Meta Key. And then Wave 5 is the Blondish and Motodao and Mystery Musician, Mystery Partner. So you'll see more on that as we get going later into this Summer Jam. 5 weeks of consecutive sales, each happening on Thursday, and each I will be here with you early to make sure that you have the best possible chance of getting the fastest possible connection and having no hiccups when you go to pick up these lands. Again, these 1x1 lands, these premium lands are available on a first come, first serve basis, and all of those that say on sale at OpenSea are on auction. So if you don't mind getting in the thick of it, to come and grab an NFT here, the lands to make your games, to put up your galleries, to do any experience you'd like to do, we'll go over some steps here. In about another 3 minutes, I'll highlight the 5 things that you need to do to help optimize your chances of getting these lands today. And I'm going to continue to do that on the Cue to Call. If you're familiar with radio, this is where on a regular time schedule, I'll tell you these things once about every 30 minutes here on this stream. Let's see. Jay Gonifer, yes, price per land, 1,011 sand. For a regular land that doesn't, that is the gray spaces here. These lands don't include any additional NFTs, just the 1x1 land NFT. If you pick up the yellow lands, you are not only getting the 1x1 land NFT, but you're also getting the Zed Run Monument, the Motodao Monument, Blondish, Peacock, Skeleton, Metakey, Bot, and Foodie McDull asset that you can see. If I just scroll up here, I can show you the previews once again of those NFTs. So these can be used inside your experiences, inside your games for the various purposes. I could see the little robot here, the Foodie McDull, maybe be using as allies, as enemies in games. Peacock, again, kind of the blondish peacock kind of, in my mind, goes well as an NFT that may also be used on a farmstead as a zoo kind of environment. Maybe you have like a mystery adventure and you're looking for something to help fill out the space. Or if you have like a high fantasy adventure, maybe the peacock would serve as something as like a, I don't know, a spiritual creature, a god of some kind that you can talk to, and you're like, whoa, I didn't expect to talk to a peacock in this game. Maybe that is the case for you. So there's all sorts of different uses you can program these to do essentially whatever you want inside the metaverse. Just different assets have different animations that are programmed into them, where these the Motodao, the Zed Run NFTs, those are designed to be more statuesque, where they would be there. They have default animations that are essentially idle, whereas the others have more interactable experience inside the game maker. So different things there. Hopefully that answers your question well. Hammer Mike, thank you for getting that in the chat. The prices for regular 1x1 lands are exactly the same and will remain the same forever in terms of sand. So this is at request from the community. We have seen all the way back over here. We go back. This is the presale 4.2 section. And we finished the presale 4.1, which was up here on the left and around the sandbox space here. During presale 4.1, we had at the time been changing around. The launch of Sand had just happened, and this was like later than August last year. The launch of Sand had just happened, and the prices were going up and they were going down, and they were going up and down. On any given day, people were asking us like, well, what is it going to be? And we were fluctuating it based on the rates of ETH and the rates of the dollar and that sort of thing. And the community said, that's enough of that. Please, can we set it at a rate? So we set it at that time at 1,011 sand. And at the time, because it was a pre-sale, you got a special 10% discount off of that rate. But 1,011 sand was the larger number that we set for the permanent long-term, forgive me, long-term sales number. So that'll always be the case. For as long as we sell a land that is just a land, it's going to be 1,011 sand. So from now on, we plan to have these land sales ongoing through 2023. You'll have lots of opportunities to pick it up. If you miss it during this sale, you miss it next week and all of the other subsequent weeks, and maybe you haven't optimized your systems, things like that, then keep a hold of your sand. It's all good. There will be more sales. We'll do them regularly through 2023. So you have lots of opportunity to pick up some lands in the future if, for any reason, you can't get some. Second. It's a lot of chatting, folks. If you've ever done something like this, you got to keep water on hand. That's a pro tip. If you're making the Sandbox content, maybe you're live streaming, you're doing that, keep water on hand. I actually installed a mini fridge under my desk so that I could always keep some cold sparkling water under there so that I can have these conversations with you guys, but it'll always be that rate. So now it's my cue to call. I'm going to talk about the top 5 things you'll need to know to help increase your chances of picking up a land NFT today. With step number 1 being that you have enough sand inside your wallet for the Sandbox game. So you can see here on the top right that this wallet on this computer, and I use 2 computers, so I've got my actual wallet on this one that doesn't showcase to you guys for show reasons. So you've got the sand balance in the top right. If your sand balance does not say that you have enough sand inside your wallet, just head over to the medium.com/sandbox-game to check this balance. The current rate 1x1 land NFT is 1,011 sand. Premium lands that include these beautiful NFTs, 4,683 sand. So you'll need that. You'll need that balance in your wallet in order to pick up a land. You won't be able to buy one without the sand in your account. Now, on top of that, step 2, and once again, forgive me, you'll want to make sure that you're sending it to the right address. So if you want to know what the right address is, click me. You can see your wallet right here. And this, the amount of sand that's in your wallet will update if you're following step number 3, but I'll get into that in a second. You can see now that you have the sand and you're sure that you have enough sand in your account. If you don't know where to buy sand, go over to coingecko.com, type sand in the search over here. You can see, if you click markets, all of the available markets, and you can see dozens and dozens of trading pairs in different markets all over the world. Hopefully there's something for you. If not, you have the opportunity for the decentralized market. If you have ETH in your wallet, you can trade it for sand on Uniswap by clicking this link here. So you've got sand. You'll need some Ethereum as well. You can see here that the average gas rate, which would take about a 4 minute 30 seconds to process your transaction, is just 10 Gwei, meaning the Uniswap swap, which is roughly the same complexity as our smart contract. This is roughly the cost of a transaction fee on the ETH network for ours, just $3.91 US worth of Ethereum, which will also need to be in the same wallet to process the transaction. Now we've got sand, we've got ETH. Step 3 is make sure that you are signed into your account on sandbox.game. It may look like you already are, and then you click on the Me button, and it's like, wait, what? No. So some web browsers will cache data, which is to say that they save data so that you don't have to reload it. It remembers what it's supposed to look like. That doesn't mean that you are signed in, so you want to double check that. Make sure you're signed in there. Then also, with whichever wallet app you use, whether you use Bitsky, whether you use MetaMask, maybe you're using the Arcane wallet because you've logged in with a social option, check that wallet to be sure that you're signed in there as well. Now you've got 4 out of the 5 steps completed. You've got Sand ETH, you've signed into the web page, you've signed into your wallet, you're almost ready to go. The only other step that some users have reported is that maybe they're on Wi-Fi. Maybe they're, having some lag issues. So these are first come, first served sales, which means that the faster your internet can perform, the better chances you have of getting a land NFT. 2 sales ago, if you don't know, those of us who work for the Sandbox, we don't get special priority for buying lands. We don't get special offers. Nothing happens on the back end. We have to buy them here with you. So if I want to buy a land today, I should also follow all of these steps. My router happens to also cache data in order to help load as much as possible. And so 2 sales ago, when I was looking at the Galaxy Interactive, the Gemini Spaces, the timer hit 0, and the website on our end, on the back end, it'll update for you automatically. It'll refresh automatically. But my router thought that it already knew what the data was that the website was sending to my computers. So my router was like, nah, I don't need to refresh. The router said that before. And this is different. I've been through many of these sales. The pages already, they do refresh automatically. But if your hardware caches that data, then it may interpret that as duplicated data, and it may not appear to refresh it for your system. So, as the 5th step, I recommend that you restart your router if you have not already, to best, again, increase your chances of getting those land NFTs today. So, if you've done all 5 of those steps, you've got Sand, you've got ETH, you've logged into the website, you've logged into your wallet, and reset that router, that'll be your best chance of picking up land today. Whether it be because your Wi-Fi will perform better, or I've seen just too many users in the past. They've run into those issues. That's been the stop right there. So hopefully that helps you guys as you are watching. Let's see if you have any questions about the Sandbox right now. Maybe this is your first time looking at lands and you're not sure what's going on with the whole system. Maybe you want to know about what the future of the Sandbox is, and I can answer those questions to the best of my ability. So feel free to put those in the chat as we have 1 hour before the sale starts here today. Okay, sure. Yes. So one user has asked, what are the processes like for purchasing land? So I can show you briefly. So you'll click on this land. Let's just say this was the land you had in mind. This is the spot you desire. You'll see this pop out, come through. And where it says download Game Maker, that will still be there, but there will also be a button that says book the land. What that means is, assuming you were the first person to click book the land and your signal gets to that server first, you now have a short reserve time for that land. So you click book, and then a pop-up may come up from your MetaMask or other wallet app, where after you have booked, you can then verify that you do intend to purchase. And so I don't really want to open up the wallet right now, but you'll get that in there, that transaction. You can click on that and you'll be able to verify your transaction, approve the transaction. It'll start to process. You'll want to make sure that you are paying attention, and this is why I'm going to continue to highlight this throughout this live stream, to the average gas rate, the high gas rate, the low gas rate, and choose a rate that's appropriate for you, what you feel like is the right amount of gas, because the booking option, if you book lands That is a limited time booking. It will expire after some duration, an hour, 2 hours, depending on what adjustments we've made based on your feedback for this sale. I believe it's a 2 hour long term, but I would be cautious to make sure that your transaction does process on the ETH chain. Don't put your gas too low because you may have that booking expire, which means that that land will reopen up and other people will have a chance to buy. Okay. So, and that's going to go both ways. So, but we'll get into that more as the sale starts. So you book there, your wallet opens, you click, yes, I want to buy that. Yes, I approve the costs of doing so. And you just wait for that ETH transaction to process. And as soon as it's processed, the land will change. You should immediately see that the land is red because you've booked it and it is listed as my lands there. You should also see that all the others are starting to turn purple, meaning that someone has booked it. Okay. And then when they process on the ETH blockchain, you will see the tiles change to green, as you see here on the side, which means they are already purchased. They are owned by someone. Okay. The same thing is going to happen with the yellow tiles. They're going to turn booked or turn red as you have your reservation. And then again, for those people who, there have been the very rare, very occasional glitch that two people at the exact same time click the booked button and that they both show my lands. It's super rare that we see this, but it has been seen in the past. So your browser may cache the data differently, but if you get the transaction to come up on your MetaMask service or your other wallet service, you should be good to go. Just process that transaction on chain, and the first transaction to process on chain is the one that verifies. All things that happen on the blockchain are given a sense of permanence, so there's no way for anybody to roll anything back. So once it's verified on chain, you know the land is yours, and you can always verify that the land is in your account. But once it is already on, like if you go onto Etherscan and you look at your address and you see that transaction says it's verified, it's good, you know that that land is yours, and that'll be put into your account on the same second. So let's see here. Then we'll get into the other question. I saw some others. What is the use case of a single land? Okay, Shadow. So your use case for a single land is, first and foremost, we have a game maker client, and this can be used for things that aren't games, but you can see it's very much designed to make games first. We have users who have made games that are full-blown role-playing games. We've had users that have made games that are tower defense style games, and we've had users say, you know what, games aren't for me. I want to make a social space. I've seen like giant arenas that are made purely on the basis of being a social space when the metaverse launches. I've seen people make social spaces that are purely for artistic display, and they're showing off the NFTs that they have inside their OpenSea account that are JPEG or PNG style images. Those are supported inside the Game Maker right now. They're also showcasing the NFTs that they purchased in sales like these or in the marketplace. So they've got some Sandbox NFTs all around. They've got some custom designed works that they've made inside of VoxEdit, inside those art showcases, or arts that they have on OpenSea. And what's unique about that in our Game Maker, when you load up those art showcases, you can actually see on the NFTs section, if you just push the letter N, it pops up a thing and it says like, okay, here's this piece of art from OpenSea that they're showcasing. Maybe they're not the owner of the art. It will display who the original creator is and who the current owner is. So you could potentially just see a great piece of art that you want to showcase in your gallery, but you didn't make it and you don't own it. Well, so you're showcasing it. Now people know where to go if they potentially want to buy it from a creator or if they want to buy it from a current owner. You've got some options there. Of course, we have our social hubs where we'll be hosting things like race events, hide and seek sort of things, where we'll do sand giveaways and that sort of stuff inside the metaverse when we get these social spaces open for you to come in and play and hang out with your friends and chat around. Significance asks, what did the last 6x6 estates sell for? So let me see if I can pull that up for you. And again, forgive me for doing it live, but I do want to make sure that this gets shown to you. And hopefully I'm remembering things appropriately. Let's go with bundles. We'll sort by price. I think highest last sale will show us where they came. No, that's not going to show. Price high to low will probably be accurate on that. Got some. That's not currently showing what did sell. Forgive me. Sold bundles is going to showcase a lot of different things. Yeah, it doesn't look like I can pull it up quickly, so I apologize for that. From my recollection, they were in the ballpark of 70, 80, 100, 120,000 sand. And I know that's a lot of variance, but it depends on what space. It depends on, you know, how competitive the bidding environment is. It also depended on how many were going on concurrently for that size. So there's a lot of different variables that may affect bidding rates at any given moment. And of course, you know, we are more and more popular each and every sale here with the Sandbox. I know that, you know, we saw with the last sale an explosion of Bored Ape Yacht Club folks who finally kind of stepped in and they saw all the things we had to offer and realized that value proposition and just started gobbling up space in the Sandbox. And so that may be the case here today. So if you're part of that community and you're in the chat, I'm shouting you out right now. But we'll see. The Hashmask community may be just like that today. Maybe or the Zedrun community. Well, maybe they're excited about this, and so you may see different things go on with auctions on any given sale. It's tough to give a really accurate prediction for where that's going to go. But in the past, in some of these sales events, we've seen millions of sand worth of sales over just that short duration. So we'll see. We'll see where it goes, and hopefully we get some really great game experiences as it goes. So Ridniculous, nice name by the way, says, is the sale in an hour? Yes, roughly. You can see at the top of the screen here, it says the sale starts in 0 days, 0 hours, and 51 minutes from now. So I'm going over all of the optimization things, all of the Q&As, that sort of thing as we get ready for this land sale. About once every 30 minutes. And I'm going to hit it twice here, almost back to back as we get really close to the sale. I am covering the steps that you need to help optimize your chances of picking up a land today. And then, of course, any questions that you have on the way to getting that land. So, Computer RL, will all the gray plots be for sale or only some light up this wave? Computer RL, inside of this thick white border that you see on the screen, ranging, you know, to the right bottom here, right bottom here. These are the edges of this sale. Okay. So hopefully that clears up which portion this week will go on sale. You can see on the medium.com article, the Wave 1 featured partners that we have here, Hashmask, Zedrun, and you can see those are inside of those borders. So everything that's inside of that white border there will unlock when the timer hits 0. It will unlock automatically. You will not have to refresh your screen if all of the steps that we talk about here should work very well for you, including, if you haven't already, resetting your modem/router to make sure that it's not caching any temporary data behind, so that when the website does refresh automatically, you aren't pulling old information and your router being like, no, we already know what this looks like, right? Because that can happen with some hardware, with some browsers. It may keep old data when the data does refresh. So, excuse me, apologize. Praetorian Sentry says, what currency is the sale in? It is in sand tokens. You can see the Sandbox sand tokens. Okay, And you can see also on this chart, it shows the price in sand tokens. The 1x1 land, 1011 sand. The premium lands, which include these beautiful NFTs that you see here, that is 4,683 sand. Premium lands are signified by this yellow color. And you can see included with the land NFT, which is featured at the top, you also have the NFT assets right here. So when you pick this up, the smart contract is going to know that you have a premium land. You're getting all 6 of these total assets, the land plus the assets included. And then you're good to go. You'll be on your way once that transaction process is on chain. Computer RL also asks, how fast do we think these lands will be bought up? Well, Computer RL, if it's any indicator for the speed of this sale and why this live stream is so important, this space over here, which was a little bit bigger during the last sale, for those people who were able to attend that one-day event, that space filled up, sold out in about 45 seconds in the last sale. So the Sandbox is hotter than ever. This is your chance to get it this week. Once again, we are doing this Summer Jam land sale for 5 weeks straight here. Thursday, same time, 1 p.m. UTC, each and every week. So if you miss out today, you didn't get a land you were hoping to pick up, it's all good. I'll see you next week. Keep the sand in your wallet. It's not going to change. The cost of a land will be the same. The only thing that may vary from minute to minute is the on-chain transaction fee. So this processes on the Ethereum blockchain. So you will need that sand, as you mentioned, but you will also need some ETH to pay that transaction fee on-chain. But I'll get into that more in about 15 minutes here. Oh, also Computer RL. I want to hit on this point. It said 10 seconds. Fast humans or bots? As far as we can tell, this is just a whole bunch of people that are very much interested in the Sandbox. You'll probably see after this stream, if you follow Sebastian Bourget over on Twitter, he's posted at the end of every sale event. And I don't know if he wants to for this one. Maybe he waits until all 5 weeks have finished. This is just at his discretion. He likes to do it for fun. But he posts how many individuals purchase land. And in this sale, if I recall, it was something like 600 or 700 different people purchased lands in that event, which is why I believe that there were not bots or any kind of crazy like clickers or that sort of thing that made this happen. It's just individuals who are very excited to make a game, make an art experience, whatever kind of experience they want to make on these lands. They're hyped for it. They're ready to go. So again, this is why I think it's pretty safe to say that this sale could end within a minute here today. You know, you could see them all get booked up. But if you do, keep in mind that bookings don't mean sales. Bookings don't mean it's finalized. So if a user clicks, let's say, for example, a user's not watching this live stream, they don't know what it costs to pick up a land, and they had 2,000 sand in their account. And they thought, and this is not the case, but maybe they thought they could get 2 lands for 2,000 sand, but they would have needed 2,022 sand to get 2 regular lands. So they click this, they click book. They click this, they click book. Then they tried to process their transactions out of their account. Well, one of those bookings is not going to work out for them because they wouldn't have enough sand to process it. So one of them, the booking may expire if they don't get additional sand to cover that cost, that sort of thing. The booking could absolutely expire on them. So if you miss out initially, I've seen a lot of users, especially in this chat, who will hang out just a little while, that's funny. A couple of whales out here hanging out for a little while, and they may see some of those bookings re-unlock. They'll turn gray again, or they'll turn yellow again. And then you could click them, and you could get the transaction, and it'll process through. So keep in mind that if somebody sees it, if they're looking at their wallet, and they're like, oh darn, I couldn't afford it. They could click, excuse me, they could click cancel there, and then it would immediately reopen. If they don't click cancel, our booking system is set to have those things auto expire after an hour or two of sitting there. So if they just clicked it and they were like, oh darn, I didn't have it, and they forgot about it, maybe keep the page open, come back after a short while, or watch it if you like. Ooh, excuse me. It's only 5:16 a.m. for me today, folks. I apologize for the yawning. It's we're working nonstop, working on the game jam. We're doing a bunch of stuff for you guys here at the Sandbox. So let's see what we can get. Medium plots on the Euphoria sale went between 118 to 185,000 sand on auction. Thank you, Hammer Mike. Hammer Mike helps us manage that Twitter account. Does the lion's share of the work over on Twitter. So when you see those posts, thank him. He's a great contributor to the success of the Sandbox. So the Euphoria sale, which is again the sale we saw up here, involving the Bored Ape Yacht Club, involving Richie Houghton, Voxel-based, Artifact, all these. 118 to 185,000 sand was that rate for an auction for a space like this. So very high demand. Again, hopefully, we see that fun competition again during these auctions. Always good for the community. If you didn't know, with each one of these sales, a portion of the sale, it's dedicated back into something we call the foundation fund. And you can see, users have asked me in the past, what are all these little blue squares about? It'll say booked by Sandbox Game. So that foundation fund earnings, that percentage that we take from each one of these sales, goes back into the community. People like you who are developing games, you have great ideas, you can show out some of that idea created with our tools, created with VoxEdit, maybe created with the game maker. If you can show out your skills and say, I know that I have this great idea and a game that can be made, we may sponsor you and your creation of that game. That sponsor could come in any variety of ways. Maybe it's a sand allocation to you for your time, your labor for creating that game. Maybe we give you this land NFT right here to create your game on. All sorts of different things could possibly happen. You can sign up for that at gamefund.sandbox.game. If you have yourself this great idea, you've fleshed it out, this game concept, and you want to be part of the foundation fund, these sales are funding that foundation fund. And a large portion of new foundation fund allocations will open up soon. So we hold those in reserve for, I think, about 6 months from each sale to help fund the foundation fund. And then we have another group of funding that gets reserved for a year. More details about that on our white paper. But it's just a fun fact that those spaces will be used later on for great games from developers, maybe in this live stream right now. Scoop fan, do we have any more info on what the golden key will do? I do, but also I can't share it because it's a special secret. That little Easter egg is special to Alex Florez that you'll see on these streams on Wednesdays and Saturdays. Alex wanted to have a special surprise that was built into those NFTs, so I don't want to spoil it for you. But if you aren't contributing right now to the Sand ETH Uni pool, if you're not staking at staking.sandbox.game, Alex is putting a fun little contest together for those people who do participate in that. Of course, you're already getting the NFTs that come as a special reward, as a special thank you for that. This month's reward is a treasure chest that you can use inside of your Sandbox games or experiences. So we've got a lot of things going on here. Shadow, each week the price of land will, yes, be the same. So don't worry about that. Shadow says link to the article. Let me see if I can get that to you. I apologize, that's 5 minutes long and on a different PC with the chat. So 1 second here, get you that. Click. and click copy. Here you go. If you're interested in seeing the spaces that are coming up, maybe you want to know what unlocks on any given week, or what the rate is without having to ask, you want to know just for you, you can see the link medium.com/sandbox-game right there. That should answer your question, hopefully. Gigas, no hands, staking.sandbox.game if you're interested in staking. In order to stake, what you are staking is actually the Uni V2 tokens for contributing to the Uniswap liquidity pool that you see here. Click pool. You can see some of the, again, this is the V2 pool. Keep that in mind for now. We have not moved over the entire pool to the V3. We thought that largely that would be inconvenient for everybody who is staking or was already staking in V2. We don't want you to have to, excuse me, to pay a fee to move from the V2 to the V3. So we're sticking with the V2 pool for now. But yeah, if you have the V2 tokens, then you can go to staking.sandbox.game. You will get a reward for having staked with the Uni V2 that is accumulating. Monthly, we give away 1.5 million total sand to everyone who is contributing that is involved in and has proven their stake at staking.sandbox.game. We also give every contributor the NFT asset monthly that is on offer. And that is a surprise NFT asset month to month. Right now, we have this beautiful little treasure chest that will be given away for the end of this month. And I think that the snapshot for that's going to happen tomorrow. So just keep that in mind. But we'll take a snapshot once a month, and then we give away as a reward for being involved in the snapshot monthly there, those NFTs. Plus, of course, they're automatically, you are accruing sand minute to minute as that ticks. But if you have more questions about that, you can always ask over on our Discord. You could ask us on Twitter. I want to make sure that as we get closer to this sale that I'm helping people as much as we can with the optimizations of those. So Cash Cream asks, how much is premium land this time around? If you would like the premium lands, which include the land NFT and NFTs that you see here on the screen, then the total cost is 4,683 sand. And once again, this includes the one by one land NFT and each one of these 5 NFTs. Some unique properties about these NFTs. I mentioned earlier that this NFT, this cute little piggy, goes in kind, is not part of, but happens to go in kind with a recent partnership we announced with my neighbor Alice. Obviously, this the peacock here representing Blondish. The peacock is kind of in the same farm theme, that sort of thing. If you wanted to create like a zoo-like game or environment, maybe that goes in kind with that. This nice robot is designed intentionally to be an ally, maybe an enemy inside your game, maybe even just like a chauffeur. It has all the default full humanoid sort of behaviors, so you could make it stand and wave, or you could have it be full combat if you want to inside your experience. The two on the right, this I believe this, forgive me for that. To get that correct. I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to get that correct for sure. I don't want to mess this up. Yeah, Moda Dow. Thank you. Thank you, Joe, for processing at 5:24 a.m. my local time. Moda Dow, this is designed as a statue, so it does have this one default idle animation, but it is intended to be the music-centric sort of asset, if that's what you were looking for. If maybe you were involved in our last sale and you got yourself the Dead Mouse helmet, you got yourself the Richie Houghton items, right? And you wanted to make sure you have all the DJ's assets, then maybe that's for you. But the most compelling one for me in this sale, the most interesting one at least, is this Zed Run NFT. You can see as it rotates here the size of an avatar asset down here, tiny compared to the scale of this Zed Run horse. So we have, for our internal artists, for our internal team, we have a set of kind of rules for optimization. We threw the rule book out, okay? Alex, the creator of this NFT, threw the rule book out. This statue is so tall that if you were in a cityscape environment and you plopped our skyscraper sort of assets or like mid-rise buildings down, this horse would stand taller than the mid-rise building. So it's unique in that it's taller than any asset that I'm aware of inside the sandbox today. So that would be pretty cool if you had it in your space. It's grand, massive, nice little asset going on. And those, again, total cost of the premium assets here today with the land NFT, 4,683 sand going all together. So let's see. CLP 727 says, in a district, can you walk through all the lands in the district freely with no borders on each parcel? Well, CLP, actually, I'm going to say yes and no. Yes and no. When you're inside the Sandbox Game Maker, when you're designing experiences, you're designing them with instancing in mind, which is to say that each time you go from space to space, you have an individual loading. Why do we do that? So, if you have played some other crypto-based experiences that have open plane metaverses, by design, you can have some optimization at a certain distance. But if you're in an experience that you're interested in being in, often you're wasting computer resources, you're wasting maybe mobile phone resources, depending on the app, or VR resources on loading things that aren't relevant to you. Maybe you don't care about them at all. If you were there for a featured artist, a featured DJ, maybe you're there for featured game content. You want to load that experience, you're inside, and then things are out there, right? To your left, to your right, way off your sight lines, but your computer still has to load them. So we've done something where each experience, you can walk from one experience to the other. Just walk to the edge. It'll pop up a thing and say you're leaving and you're going over here. And then after just a couple seconds, you teleport to the next instance. You go into the next experience. So adjacency does matter. You can walk from place to place, and it feels pretty natural in doing so. Our social hub has designed where we have these teleporters all over the place, and we may later sell teleporters to you. So if you have a space that's here at negative 54, 119, and you buy a space that's at negative 13, 148, potentially you could be selling these teleporters later, so you could just put a teleporter in your space and say, go play my other game. You don't have to worry about walking all the way over there. But for now, we use these teleporters as a way to signify kind of like doorways to go from space to space and teleport you over to different locations. So there's lots of different options with that, but you can just walk from space to space if you want to. It's totally reasonable to do so. In fact, lots of people do that. So let's see here. Jay Gonifer says, if we buy a premium land in wave 3 or 4, will we get all of the NFTs, or those only respective to the featured partners during the wave? So as it is right now, these will be the premium NFTs for each of the sales throughout the summer sale, from my understanding. That could change potentially if demand changes from the community. We do like to listen to you guys. We have a very open-ended kind of system right now. We don't have DAO voting in place, but regardless, we do listen to you. We will, of course, enable DAO voting down the road for that system, as we are we're pre 1.0 right now. As it stands, we just like to stay in tune with the community. As I mentioned way earlier on this stream, back in pre-sale 4.2, we pegged these estates, these lands, to sand rates. Sorry, not estates, but lands. The 1x1 lands are pegged to 1,011 sand because of your feedback, right? We had a sale a couple of sales ago where the entire space was premium lands, and it included all NFTs. And we had some users say, well, I was just looking to get a land. So we switched back and we adjust from sale to sale. So if you have some feedback that you'd like to leave, of course, you can leave it in our Discord. You can message us over on Twitter, all sorts of different venues to reach out to us and give us your feedback about how these systems maybe can be optimized or more to your liking. We do have, though, at this time, the thing that I can confirm is that these NFTs will be included in this premium sale. That may not change. It may change, but we'll see as we go. Maybe I can get confirmation from, if there's anybody in the chat that is on the marketing team right now that's watching this live stream. You may be able to help me with that confirmation. But my local time is now 5:30 a.m. And as I mentioned, this is the cue to call, which is what you call it on the radio when you have something you want to say regularly on a time slot. So what do I have to say for you folks if you're watching and you're thinking, I want to get land? I sure hope that's why you're watching here today. If you want to pick up land, I have 5 steps that can help best optimize your chances of picking up land. Some are essential. Some of them just optimize your connection quality. Step number 1, you of course will need sand. In order to purchase a land today, you will need the Sandbox token, sand. And you can see up in the top right of my screen right now, there is an indicator that would show you how much sand you have inside your wallet. Right now, this wallet on this computer, which is, I have 2, has 0 sand in it. So if I wanted to buy a land NFT today, I could not because I don't have enough sand to do it. How much sand will you need? Well, for a 1x1 land, you'll need 1,011 sand, as we mentioned. And then if you would like to buy a premium land, which includes the NFTs, as we're just asked about just a second ago, you would need 4,683 sand for each land premium that you picked up, or land 1x1, 1,011 sand for each one. You'll need that sand amount in your wallet. Now these process as a smart contract on the Ethereum blockchain, meaning you don't need to worry about the security of the system. You don't need to worry about finding a middleman. You know that when you process this transaction, as soon as it says verified on the blockchain, your amount that you authorize will come out of your wallet, and these assets will be minted into your account on chain. It'll happen all automatically. Not an issue, right? So in order to process on the Ethereum blockchain, you will need ETH in order to process, okay? So you'll use your 1,011 sand if you're buying a regular land, or your 4,683 sand if you're buying the premiums, right? And you'll need some ETH. How much ETH? The complexity of our smart contract is roughly the same as a Uniswap swap. Maybe a little more, maybe a little less, but I generally see this being about the same. And the Ethereum gas rate changes minute to minute. So keep in mind that you may need just a little bit more. Maybe you need a little less, but it changes. You can actually watch it changing live right in front of you there. So the current average going rate for a transaction, if you want it to process in 4 minutes and 25 seconds, would be about 14 GUI, which is the smallest decimal on an Ethereum fungible currency transaction. But a Uniswap swap is roughly $5.12. I'm going to press refresh. You'll see it says $4.33 for an average transaction. That gets converted to ETH, and that's why you see when you see your MetaMask pop up or your Bitsky pop up or what have you, it's going to say, hey, it's going to cost this much in ETH. That should be roughly the number that you see for that transaction. You can choose to make it high-speed transaction, costs a little bit more, but processes faster. You could choose to make it a low-speed transaction. Personally, I don't recommend using low-speed transactions on the basis that I've seen some users report in the past that their transaction never processed because the blockchain had a bunch of cool, transactions are popular, that sort of thing, right? So I would say, just keep that in mind. So now you've got sand in your wallet. You've got ETH in your wallet. You've made sure that it's the same wallet that's in the Me section of your account that you put that stuff in. You'll be able to see it very clearly in the top right that you have it. Now, what's next? Well, you'll want to make sure that you are signed in on the website at sandbox.game. If you are not already or you haven't double checked, refresh the page, Click on me. Make sure it's signed in. Cool. Now that you're signed in on the website, also step 4, make sure that you're signed into your wallet app. Whether it be you're using a Bitsky wallet, maybe you're using an Arcane wallet because you sign in with the social option, or you're using MetaMask or another Web3 compatible wallet. Just make sure that you're signed into that before the sale starts. Got about 23 minutes and 30 seconds left for that sale to start, so you've got a little bit of time to check those, of course. JP Malin or Maline, this is the only sale that is going to include this Zrun only purchased as a partner this space right here. So you can see just by scrolling around that there's no other giant Zrun logos around. This is their allocated land for their partnership based on our agreement. So, okay. So let's get back to the steps. There is a 5th step I mentioned, 5 steps to best optimize your performance. If you're signed in, if you've got your ETH, if you've got your Sand, if you're signed into your wallet and your account, step number 5 is avoiding potential cached data. So your PC and your router may be caching temporary data to help your websites load faster if you push F5 and you refresh the page, right? So our website will automatically refresh when the sale starts. When the timer hits 0, the website will automatically refresh. But I've seen reports, and it's happened to me personally, where my router has cached my data. And so the timer hit 0 and the website didn't refresh. And there was another time where my web browser cached my data. And so, as I mentioned earlier, I have 2 computers, and I happen to have the website open on both computers. And one computer where the website did not have the data cache, I cleared my cache in my browser. It was fine. It worked great. Boom, instantly, right? It happened to be the computer that didn't have my wallet signed in. So I wasn't able to buy that sale. I've run into these problems myself. The Sandbox staff doesn't get special priority if you didn't know. We don't get to get these lands in any other way. We stay here with you to make sure that we don't get an unfair advantage. We want to stay fair to you. So just keep that in mind, that if you have loading issues or that sort of thing, you will have wanted to clear that cache data and or restart your router before the sale to best increase your chances of getting everything to operate as expected as soon as it opens. We had users during the last sale when all the lands sold out in about 45 seconds. Users in this chat on this stream said, "Thank you so much. Things worked great. Have a nice day. Everything was fine." So hopefully that'll be the case for you guys here. Vitamint 8. You can see here on the screen that the Wave 1 rate, and this will be the same throughout all 5 waves, lands the price 1,011 Sand for a land NFT that does not include the additional assets. Premium lands, which include these 5 assets plus the land NFT, running at a different rate, but these 5 assets would be included exclusive to the Summer Jam sale. You can only get them by purchasing a premium land during this sale, 4,683 Sand. So if you're looking at the map and you want to buy on the first come first serve basis, you follow the steps I just mentioned. You try to pick up this premium land, you can see clearly at the top, it shows the location of the land NFT that I have clicked. This is the land NFT. You're also getting the Zrun monument, the Moda DAO monument, the DJ Blondish Peacock, Skeleton Meta Key bot, and Foodie McDull asset. And again, I'll just show you the assets here, the previews that we have. Some of them are super cute. They each have different purposes, different uses. These 2, the Moda DAO, this is a statue style, which means that the idle animation should be the only animation that it has, but it's designed for that collector who's looking for those musical themed assets. And this kind of it threads back into our last sale that we had during the Euphoria sale, We had featured, of course, deadmau5, Richie Houghton, among other musical artists that we've had in the past. So these are kind of going in kind with them. Maybe you already have those assets and these are going to fill out your collection. Blondish over here, this is also a musical theme. Despite the fact that the Blondish asset, honestly, I see it as something where maybe you created a zoo experience in your game, or maybe you've created a farm to go with this. This can also go in with a partner that we announced just a short while ago, My Neighbor Alice, that sort of thing. The robot here would be good in a combat-based environment, or maybe as like a type of like concierge if you create a cool-looking like tech arts showcase, that sort of thing. And then the Z-Run NFT is unique in that it broke the rules. Alex broke the rules with this design. This asset in particular is taller than some of our mid-rise buildings. And when we give guidelines to our artists who are designing, and we say very specifically, in order to best optimize your performance inside the game, make a game or make an asset that is not this big, right? And we give them kind of a bounding box to say, don't make it bigger than this. And Alex was like, you know what? I'm in charge. Who cares about the rules, right? Made this giant statue. Very nice looking. So that is unique because it is so large. You'll plop that in your game or your experience, and it will stand out as a monument. Sky, really. Huge. Tony T 99,000 says, where do we raise our gas? After clicking submit transaction? No. So what you'll do is you'll click on a space like this. When it opens up, when the sale starts, there will be a book it button or a booking, So you click book on this button. It should be purple. Maybe it's blue. I forget just off the top of my head. But the button will come up. You click book. Then you'll get a pop-up. And if it's on MetaMask, then you have an option. You click like advanced or something to that degree. And you can change whether you want to go low, medium, or high gas rate. Or you can click custom if you have the very advanced features turned on. And you could set the gas rate at whatever you want by number. So in order to keep track of that gas rate, I keep this Ethereum gas tracker up here for you. How much should you do? Well, at this given minute, if you did an average transaction, 11 Gwei, it'd take 3 minutes, 59 seconds for that transaction to process. And it would cost roughly, $4.32. I should have drank a Red Bull, folks. I apologize. I feel like I've yawned 3 times or something during this stream. And like, it's probably because I'm not breathing. So busy, I'm talking. And if you didn't know, your body will make you yawn if you're not holding in enough, not absorbing that oxygen. But you can see the average gas rate changes literally second to second based on the last 1,000 blocks on that blockchain. So when you process that transaction, me personally, what I like to do is I don't mind the price difference between the average transaction and the high transaction, and I just click high and get it done within a minute, 2 minutes, regardless of what other people are doing. But if you don't want to do that, of course, you don't have to do that. Just keep in mind that if you go too low on your gas transaction and it never processes, then those bookings can expire over time. But you can do that. You can make those changes. So yeah, perfect shots. You can see on the screen right here what I have centered. And there's probably a bunch of people coming and checking this out, logging in right now. So you may experience some of this reloading, but just keep in mind that it's not really going to affect the sale per se. Everyone's when you keep the page up, it is going to load dynamically. That load right there will, if I'm guessing, be the final back end load. 15 minutes before the sale, we kind of turn on the smart contracts to be able to be clicked. Like, they can't actually be clicked until the timer hits 0, but there's something in the back end happening right there. So that's why that load happened. But when the timer hits 0, all of these will refresh. Everybody will load all together. So I'm going to highlight this again now, just right now. 5 steps that you'll need to do. Kidzula, you could, in theory, book multiple lands before buying, but given how fast these sell, I would recommend that you just process it personally. Because as I mentioned in our last sale, which included more lands as an individual sale, everything sold out within 45 seconds. Was all gone. Um, so for me personally, I would take any land I can get. You know, in fact, there have been many sales in the past where I've seen it fill up so fast that as somebody who works for the Sandbox, I feel almost guilty buying a land. And so I took my hands off the keyboard and mouse and was like, all right, you guys can, you buy them. It's all good. You'll make great content. And I love seeing the growth there. So I stepped away. But if you want to book them, what I would say is click the book, process the transaction on chain as fast as you're comfortable with. That's me. That's my style. That's not everybody's style. Plenty of people have picked up lands. If you try to do multiple bookings, here's the pitfall. Here's what could happen. Potentially. So as you know, like the cost of a land today, the gray lands that we saw on the map, 1,011 sand. The premium lands, 4,683 sand. So here's something that could go wrong. Maybe your wallet has 2,000 sand in it. Well, you would need 2,022 sand to be able to buy 2 lands. So if you click this, you click book, you click this, you click book, okay? If you're that person, maybe you've booked too many. So if you are one of the people who is trying to buy and you see it all fills up and you didn't get a chance to even click anything because there's so many people trying to buy here today, that's happened. That's possible. Stick around. Because some users may be so excited they may try to book too fast and they may not realize they don't have enough sand to handle it. Or maybe they're not watching this stream and they don't know that you need some ETH to process the transaction on the blockchain. Those people will be your opportunity to see those tiles turn back to gray or see those tiles turn back to yellow, and you could pick them up after a couple seconds to a few minutes, maybe an hour later when the booking expires. There's potential here for you. So 11 minutes left. With Bitsky, Tony T, honestly, I'm not a Bitsky expert. You would want to ask their support with that, and I apologize. I personally like to and use MetaMask. So, I like the advanced options on MetaMask for that. And I like the fact that they kind of dynamically update that tool to keep up with updates like the upcoming London update for the ETH blockchain. So if you can't update gas with Bitsky, just keep in mind that it's my understanding that Bitsky uses the average rate. So as long as we don't see like a really sudden spike in average GUI when these transactions start, you'll probably have it processed just fine before the booking time expires. Like I said, that's an hour or so. And even if you processed a low transaction right now, it would still get done in 15 minutes. So if it processes average, you're probably fine. It shouldn't be an issue. So let's see. China Post Estate. The China Post Estate Taeroon. Currently, we don't have an announcement for the China Post. You may have seen something about that. But that isn't confirmed until they confirm it. So that may be delayed, if at all. But we'll see. More details on that later. I don't want to dig too deep into that. So if you have enough in your wallet, there is no downside to booking multiple. As I mentioned, the downside would be potentially not having your transactions process on-chain in time. Because if you try to book 10 and then you're manually going and you're approving each transaction, but the gas rate changes rapidly in a short period, some of those bookings could fail or go back to other people being able to get them. So there is some downside. There is, of course, risk because the only one to genuinely get the lands is the first person to have that transaction process on chain. But again, our booking is limited to that. If it sits there for like an hour and your transaction is sitting there for an hour on chain, you could end up having the booking cancel and your transaction fail because you didn't have an appropriate amount of gas. So there's some risk involved in that regard if you try to book up a bunch of them. But I have personally been in some sales where I've been able to book 2 or 3 and then make the purchase for 2 or 3 transactions happen. But again, when I did that, I chose high speed rate. I went over cap with custom options and that sort of thing. So if you're on a Bitsky or you're on an Arcane, maybe you're on MetaMask, but you don't have the advanced options chosen, I wouldn't recommend doing something like that personally, just because I did see the speed in that last sale. But I'm going to, you can speed it up after you book. That is true. I'm going to go over the top 5 things that you can do to help optimize your experience here today. Number 5, in fact, I'm going to skip now. Normally, I recommend that people restart their router or modem, but with just 8 minutes left, it may be too late for you to do that. It may be that your modem router takes more than 10 minutes to turn back on. So I'm going to skip that. Well, I did just say it out loud. So let's go with 4 things you can do to help optimize your experience. Make sure that first you have enough sand in your account to process the transaction. It is 1,011 sand for each land NFT that you pick up that is color gray here. This is just the 1x1 land NFT. It is 4,683. One of these days I'm going to remember that number off the top of my head. 4,683 sand to pick up this land NFT that is close to the Zed Run. That includes the Zed Run monument, the Motodao monument, the DJ Blondish Peacock, the Skeleton Monkey Meta Keybot, and the Foodie McDull asset. If you want those assets and the land NFT, any one of these yellow lands can get you the land and those. Number 3 thing that you can do, right? Forgive me. So you've got number 1, which was have enough sand to purchase them, right? Number 2 is to understand that this process is happening on the Ethereum blockchain. So you will need to have some Ethereum inside your wallet in order to process your transaction. The average cost is the same complexity of smart contract as a Uniswap swap, roughly the same in terms of what it's going to cost for your averages, for your highs. This changes second to second. You can literally see every 10 seconds this updates with a different average based on the last 1,000 blocks. But it's been about $5 worth of ETH, which is a great deal. We've seen this in previous sales be as much as 100, 200 Gwei. So this is a great day today for this land sale. Hopefully it'll be the same in each of our land sales that we have going on for the next 5 weeks. Now you've got sand. Now you've got ETH. Let's make sure your account is logged into the website. Your web browser may cache temporary data that could show you that you are signed in when you are not. So double check. Click the Me section down here in the bottom left. Make sure that it doesn't ask you to log in. Okay? If it does, log in. Then open up your preferred wallet app at least one time right now. Whether it be MetaMask, Bitsky, Arcane Wallet, open it up. Make sure that those also don't ask you to sign in. If they do, make sure you're signed into them. Now, you have your best chance of picking up a land NFT today in this sale. It's going to open up in about 5 minutes. Great Gatsby, it has been a while since I've seen your name. Hello, how are you? Significance. Holy moly! 5 minutes left. Summer sale, guys. Who's hype? Who's hype for this? You know? I'm gonna party. I'm gonna party a little bit, I think, as we get going here. Get a little chill backbeat. It's a summer sale. It's a special holiday. You know, I wore this shirt today because I was thinking to myself, I'm in my closet and I'm looking and I'm like, hey, I want to look good for these guys. I want to have some fun here. We're having a summer event. What can Joe wear for a summer event? Well, of course, I actually wore this shirt on my wedding day. We went to Hawaii. Beautiful weather down there, by the way. If you've never been, check it out. If you can, of course. But it's hot, hot, hot out here. Cosmo Grog, you're right. Hot, hot, hot. I'm trying to keep that theme in theme today for you guys. Let's have some fun. 4 minutes and 24 seconds left until this sale starts. If you can feel the energy in the room right now, it's palpable. It's just you sitting there watching this stream, maybe listening to this stream while you have the page up. You're ready. You're excited. I'm excited. Can't wait to see how fast this goes. I'm honestly, I get astounded each and every one of these sales when I see like the boop, like bookings, just boop on the screen. Everybody's getting it done. That Panda Pop says, I got my nervous sweats on. Is that like nervous sweats like you're sweating? Or do you wear a particular pair of like pajama pants? In America, we have these like stretchy elastic pants, and they're just basic cotton pants. We'll wear them to bed sometimes. We call them sweats. Some people wear them to the store. Crazy people. Get your nervous sweats on. Wear those sweats, you know? Yeah. I'm just kidding. I'm just trying to make a joke for you. At least the music didn't deafen me this time around. Yeah, sorry about that, Panda. See, it's funny. If you watch our live streams, better put on my nervous pajamas. Blazer. Yes. Nervous pajamas. Oh, no worries, Gigas. No worries. Like I said, it goes fast, but don't overthink it. Just follow the steps. Make sure you click a land, click the book button, open your wallet if it doesn't automatically pop up, approve the transaction. Once you've got it booked, it doesn't allow other users to book. There's a very occasional rare situation where two people can click in the same like millisecond. But again, that's very rare. I've only heard of that probably once or twice. So, you know. 6 a.m. in the U.S. Nash Nolan. It is 6 a.m. for me as well. I live on that Pacific coast, just 2 blocks from the ocean. I got a nice fog coming over from the ocean right now, which is going to be sweet, sweet solace. Music really adds to the anticipation and also the need to run to the bathroom. Hey, listen. If it's too much for you, we could turn it up. Minute 58 seconds. Should you have the land piece you want already clicked now? No. HD XRP. When you click it now, it pops up this page, but the page doesn't have the book now option. That means it won't work. This little pop-in will change when the timer hits to 0. Okay? So just keep that in mind. Macaroni asks, will I buy one as well? I'm not going to be able to do that because I'm live here with you guys, and I'm totally okay with that. I already have some lands. I've got some plans for those lands. I'm having a good time. What's the URL? Go to sandbox.game and click map if you're interested in picking up lands today. Do not refresh the page. You don't have to. If you've been here with me for the last 2 hours, you've gone over all the steps, you're good to go. It'll update itself. Thank you, Caradats, for putting that in the chat. Oh, my plans, Panda Pops. I can't reveal those now. There's so much work involved. There's so much design work involved. So many steps to put in place. So many people to hire. I got real plans. I got legit plans for my land. Activate your nervous pajamas, folks. 30 seconds left. If you're just joining us, this is the Sandbox land sale for the Summer Jam, week 1 out of 5. 20 seconds left, folks. Week 1 out of 5. Summer Jam. Pick up your lands. If you miss out today, don't worry. OpenSea.io, they got you covered for estates. These will unlock very soon, where you can click where it says on sale at OpenSea. You can click on a land. If you didn't get one in this sale, you can click buy estate. You can see some of these bookings already coming through right away. Congratulations to those people who get this booking here today in these sales. They are coming through pretty rapidly, as I'm seeing here. I'm going to turn down the music just a little bit. We'll keep it bassy, keep it low for you here. And it looks like, boom! There it is. I knew that was going to happen. I knew that was going to happen. All those transactions, everybody's processing them very quickly. I'm seeing just 2 little gray squares, a couple of premiums instantly instantly on this sale. Thank you so much. Congratulations to those people who so far have booked. And once again, if you have booked and you're looking at this, I clicked book on like 20 different things, Gigas. Hey, maybe. Okay, that's right. So fast. But this is expected. If there's a land here and you see these bookings go through, right? And you're thinking, you missed out. Well, stick with it. Stick on the page, because some people might have gotten too excited. Maybe they booked 5, 10, 15 different lands. If they got like that super fast, lightning fast click, they might have booked too much. And if they did book too much, if they don't have enough sand in their account, maybe they don't have enough ETH in their account. Let's see if we affected the bubble of the Ethereum blockchain here. If they don't have enough, then it could be your lucky day. You may see some of these tiles reopen, and you can kind of see them speckle open again, because they may decline that transaction and say, oh, I didn't have enough sand, didn't have enough ETH. You could still book. Mine said wallet locked, Scott J. That's what I'm talking about. If you have this situation where your wallet wasn't unlocked, you didn't type in your user or your password for your wallet before the sale started, you might have missed your opportunity this week. But join me early, join me ahead of the sale next week, and we will talk about the 5 steps that I recommend people do to increase their chances of picking up land in these sales. 1 is having enough sand, of course. 2, having Ethereum to process a transaction on chain. Number 3 is making sure you're signed into your account on the website at sandbox.game. Then number 4 is making sure you're signed into your wallet, because your money is your money, right? We don't keep the sand in the website. We don't keep your ETH in the website. They're always in your wallet. So you have to make sure you're signed into your wallet before the sale as well. And then number 5, as you could see, this lit up today like a Christmas tree in New York City. Instantaneously, people wanted these purchase orders for these lands, okay? So those people who had the best chance of being able to see that space and click it and book it were probably people who restarted their router 10, 15 minutes before the sale, maybe an hour before the sale, because then they're not having any cached data lying around inside their router. Maybe they cleared the cache on their web browser as well. So everything coming in is fresh and new. Okay. And there is a lot, and I mentioned this before. There is, everything you click says booked. That may be the case. I know that you noticed this. If you're watching the live stream, you may have noticed it appear almost like a single sheet of paper. Everything turned purple for me. Right as soon as it opened, I saw just a couple of them book, and then boom, everything all together instantly, right? So this can absolutely, with the popularity going up, that could be the case, but you have some other opportunities, okay? So if you have enough sand, you can compete sort of in the auctions that we have going on sale at OpenSea. Click buy on these. It's going to open up the auctions. When they are online, OpenSea.io will open these soon. As soon as OpenSea.io has those auctions open, you can start bidding on those. The auctions will last roughly 24 hours. Come back here in 24 hours, and you can see up here in the top right, this space that I've highlighted on the center of the screen here, just above and around the ding-a-ling space, above and around the gutter cat space. This giant 24 by 24, 576 parcels worth of lands will be on auction starting tomorrow on OpenSea. But you can see you'll have an ability to make your best shot at this tomorrow. Not tomorrow, correction, I'm sorry. Thursday next week, not tomorrow. I'm living in the future already ready for the next thing. Joe is so hype right now. So, yep, you've got a lot going on. A router can cache data. Binary Monster, I know because it happened to me. I've also seen my computer cache data. So when I look down and to my right, I'm actually looking at another monitor for another PC because I'm a super nerd and I have 2. But I have had situations personally where my left PC, the browser cached the website data. My right PC was good. That was fine. 2 sales ago, I had my router caching all the data. I hadn't restarted my router in like a month. And part of the optimization is that it's, of course, anything that can make your services operate faster, go more efficiently for you when you go to common websites that you surf all the time. Well, you know, maybe your router is going to have that feature implemented depending on the cost, that sort of thing. Mine is like a commercial grade router, so I don't know if that matters, but I just recommend that to people. And so far, it's worked out pretty well. It's increased our chances of being able to do it. So let's see. Okay, so Gigas, no hands. What you'll want to do in your situation, it says in my activity on MetaMask, it says approve and call for 0 Ethereum and $0. So it should say 0 Ethereum because you're not using ETH to make the payment. You're using Sand. So that's normal. So click on that transaction on your MetaMask and then just click on like view on Etherscan. And it looks like my Etherscan timed out there. But when you click view on Etherscan, you'll be able to see a transaction like this one. And this isn't your transaction, I assume, since it's confirmed like 30 seconds. But you'll see something similar to this, where it'll say from to total value, transaction fee, gas price on there. If it says success, then you know your transaction processed. If you're having an issue seeing it on the website, it's just like very few of them have finalized booking. You can see some of them are turning green. That means that they're confirmed. My lands, you should see something that's red. And you can actually see a few of these here. And I apologize here. It looks like a lot of users are still online refreshing these and seeing this happen live. But you can see my lands represents lands that you have booked. Should be red on there. If that is not the case, then just go ahead and refresh and see what you've got going on there. So if it does say success on Etherscan, it says token transferred. Okay, that means you minted it for the first time ever. That's part of the smart contract. That's good. One way that you might be able to see this faster is you can click on the me section here. Let's see if I can click me to the map. Click on inventory. Then you can see the things that are in your inventory, including your lands, your estates, your experiences, that sort of thing, for that wallet right there. So if it's not already in there, sometimes it pops up faster on OpenSea.io because we have a crazy volume of people who are currently on the map using up a lot of server resources. So if you go to OpenSea.io and you're on the same wallet, you can also see your NFTs in there. So you may see that it's already minted showing on there. Once it's in the wallet, it's good to go. So just rest assured, it just takes a little bit more time sometimes. Okay. Blazer. It says book transaction is pending, but going to Etherscan, the transaction doesn't exist. Okay. One of two things could have happened for you, Blazer. First, on your MetaMask or your Bitsky or whatever wallet, when you click on that, check for pending transactions. Check for transactions you haven't clicked approve on yet. If you did click approve and you already started that, then you may have the Ethereum blockchain also queues up transactions. So if a large number of transactions go to process at the same time, then I think it's like 1,000 can sit in line and then it creates a new line. So you may not even have had your timer start yet. You may not have had your transaction get in line yet. It's in line to get in line, which can happen. Excuse me. Okay. You've clicked on land, Galatech. Right now, you can see on the map that all of these lands have turned purple, with the exception of some that are coming reopen. So if you see lands that are gray or yellow, you may have an opportunity to, excuse me, to buy there. But If you're seeing lands that are purple, those lands are already booked by another user. So just keep that in mind. You got one. Good, CLP. Good. Nice to hear. But yeah, you should be able to see on Etherscan Blazor when you click that, it'll say something like that on that page. It'll say like your thing is in line and your transaction is estimated to start soon or whatever. Excuse me. Jeez. If yours should be red. It should be red to say that it is your lands. While it's pending on chain, it's just pending on chain. You're still booked. The only reason why it turns red is to show which of these bookings is your booking and it's more clear. Otherwise, you just be one of a sea of purple and you might not remember where you went. So you could see that it says my lands. That's the one that you booked. If you started the transaction, just wait. Once it says approved on chain or confirmed on chain rather, then you know you're good to go. You'll see it mint on etherscan.io into your account. It'll go from nothing and nowhere to being created in your account for the first time. So let's see here. Stayed up literally all night for this and I'm so happy I did. All I can say is praise the Lord that I even got one. And upon further inspection, I'm actually only a few blocks away from where I wanted to be, which was right under Z. Well, congratulations, Giga Snow Hands. I appreciate you there. Looks like the Daggers TV picked up one as well. Dub G3390, the book button only comes up if you're clicking on a space that is not purple. Purple spaces are already booked. So your best chance at this point is to kind of get lucky and see them uncover because somebody, maybe somebody who booked some didn't have enough sand or they didn't have enough ETH. You might see them open up where you could click on them. The green spaces have already verified on the Ethereum blockchain so that they're guaranteed to not be available. They're sold and confirmed. So just if WG, you have an issue with it not being there, then there were 5 steps that I highlighted throughout this live stream. I start 2 hours before each stream or each event opens up. So in 6 days and 21 hours, 46 minutes, I'm going to start up another live stream like this that goes over these 5 steps. So next week, if you're having an issue and you can't book now, you may have cached data in your web browser, which means that your web browser is trying to make things load as fast as possible by saving information that is no longer relevant. Okay, you may have the same issue with cache data in your router. I personally have experienced both of these issues in the past, so I go over these steps before the sale goes live on this stream to make sure you have enough sand, make sure you have enough ETH, make sure you're logged into your account, make sure you're logged into your wallet, and then clear your cache data by restarting your router and clearing cache data on your browser if that's something you want to do. Otherwise, errors like this may happen because your web browser is trying to make sure you can load the website as fast as possible. So it's saying, oh, you don't need this information, when in fact you did. So apologies for that, but that is part of the modern internet that, you know, you want to avoid it, but at the same time, this is something that we can't change the way Google Chrome operates or Brave browser operates or your Linksys router operates or something like that. So I try to help you out before each and every one of these with those tips when I can. This link is for liquidity mining updated instructions. That would be relevant for the V2 liquidity mining, yes. So you should be good to go there. If you have further questions about liquidity mining, you can always ask in our Discord and we will get those to you as soon as possible. And further to the point, WG, with regards to cache data, it looks like I'm even experiencing that now with my Brave browser, which is based on Chromium, which is again the same way that Edge and Chrome works these days, where it's trying to cache data, so it's not updating the map as often as the map could update. And this is based on the web browser itself. So if I cleared my cache data in my browser now and I restarted and I was sure I was signed into all my things, then I could almost guarantee you that these yellow ones over here wouldn't be this way. But once again, check and make sure, yeah, and you can see when I clicked it, it turned purple because the cache data showed that it was available, but the reality is it was not. somebody had clicked it, somebody had done this very quickly. And so that button, for like a quarter second, you can see it pops up at the bottom and it says buy with sand, and then it goes away because the cache data that it's saving is an accurate live representation of data. And this is not something that happens on our end. It's something that happens in your web browser, because the web browser wants you to be able to load things as fast as possible, feel like it's a great experience, which works great for email or going to google.com or whatever, but it doesn't work great for live updating services like this. This is a downside to having a very optimizing or a self-optimizing web browser. And click this again, instantly it was booked. It's just not accurate data when your browser caches it. So not really much we can do about that on a software end. The only thing that you can do essentially is clear your cache right before the sale starts, and then try to get it right away. So Safari and Chrome, WebG, like I said, Safari is a Chromium-based browser. It's based on the same infrastructure. Chrome is Chromium-based browser. Brave, Chromium, Edge, Chromium, they're all based on the same base, like, backbone. They all have the same kind of issue with caching data. So if you're having trouble with that, just keep that in mind, that right before the sale opens, that's your best chance of getting those lands, is clearing the cache data right before the sale opens and then checking it out. Otherwise, you can hang out, and for up to the next like hour, you may see some of these lands that are booked unlock. And maybe you're the user who gets that cache data update first among those who are there. I've seen it lots of times though. On success, yes. Glue Racing. Green means it's processed and finalized on the Ethereum blockchain. So if I click this one right now, it says Yan the Man. It's a user who picked up this particular space right here next to hash masks and verified it. Scott picked up this one. But if I click this other booking, it says booked by. Now this one has confirmed on chain. I can see that data. Gigas for real. Boom. You know, so when they turn green, they're verified on chain. It's done. It's good. No worries. Everything's good for you. Again, if you missed your opportunity today and you're still looking for lands, just keep in mind that we have 5 weeks worth of sales that are going on during the summer jam. So in 6 hours, 23 minutes and 41 seconds, all of this space right up here, right dead center of my screen with the white outline around the gutter cats, around the Dingaling brands right here. You can see these lands. This giant 24 by 24 will be available on auction for this, and this goes up next week. So join us again next Thursday. You'll have your opportunity. And again, I'll go over all the steps to best optimize the process, give you your best chance at picking up lands. But once again, these 1x1s, these premium lands are first come, first serve. So there's a lot of different factors to consider, and we'll talk about those throughout. And of course, if you're trying to think about what to do with your land, if this is your first land, join us on Saturday. We're going to be showcasing some of the games people have created for the Sandbox Game Jam number 4, where we are giving away 300,000 sand in prizes and 10 land NFTs to those people who already submitted in our 2-month long contest for game creation. So you'll be able to see some of the potential for your lands if you watch us on Saturday at 1800 UTC, or you can come back on Wednesdays where we play those games live as well. So let's see. If I'm wanting to make a multi-stage map on a 1x1, would you suggest making different floors vertically? Like the top floor is the player's personal space, second floor is shops, third is a town, and fourth and beyond are dungeon tiers. The daggers, that can be a very compelling and interesting idea. I've seen users in the past create, like, there was one that was an art showcase. It was 4 floors, where the top floor was more of like a social entertainment space, and the middle floors were different kinds of featured arts. If you want users to have a different experience, just keep in mind that you won't be able to like gate them or close them out in different zones of a 1x1. The only gating is happening at the NFT level. So once people are in your experience or have access to your experience, whatever terms you make apply to that, then they can experience all of the layers, all of the levels. So if you want to cut it up into different spaces, I've seen users with like a flat plane overworld when they created a game where like they'll have a tiny house, excuse me, and it'll have a glowing icon in front of it or something. And as you walk up to the icon, when you press it, they've used an in-client teleporting trick where it kills your character but never shows you that your character dies, and then it respawns you at a location defined by where they died, right? Sort of. That's a really rudimentary way of explaining it. But then what happens is it teleported them into a layer like you're describing. That's an all inside the building layer. So you'd never think like, oh, it teleported me to a layer inside the same land, but in fact it was. And they were stacked on top of each other, where the only layer that ever saw the sky was the top layer. So when you left the building, leaving the fully enclosed building would do the same trick, but in the reverse, where you leave the fully enclosed building, it kills you there. It's an instant kill, so you never see the kill animation. It just looks like you teleport to a new location. And so you teleport to the overworld again. So you can do tricks like that, absolutely, with the Game Maker client to make experiences diverse and unique like that. All right. Giga Snowhands, congratulations. I see that you've got your land here. Messed around with other blockchain games that had terrible land sales. Probably the best one I've ever seen. Good to hear. Good to hear that feedback. And I hope that we can make every user's experience as close to perfect as possible with each and every sale. So once again, we want to see those improve with each and every sale. So give us your feedback for that, and we love to hear good news like that. Abel Black asks the question, can you teleport a player to another land parcel you own? Okay, Abel Black, right now we have the technology, yes. However, it is limited to Sandbox staff use, as we are making sure that it is optimized and isn't game breaking long term. So right now, what happens when a user teleports into a space? If no other user has an instance in that space, it turns on a server for your game. Okay. So there's a brief loading screen that says like things are getting set up, and then you appear in the space. So you can teleport from one space to another with our specific teleporters. That said, we will be heavily testing these before we make them available for sale to the public, by having them in as many spaces as possible. So when the metaverse opens initially, we will be the only ones with teleporters that can take you from, let's say, here to here, right, instantly. But that said, users will have access to, when it says alpha play now, this button, which you probably can't see, I can see because I'm an administrator. That alpha button will have a map like this, but zoomed in even more. And so you can use that overworld map to, let's say you make a game right here at -49,120. People get to the end of your game. You can put a sign at the end of the game, or you can make a quest that is incompletable that would pop in at the end of the game that says, love your experience? Join me over here at -15,145. Right? And then a user can use the map function to very quickly and easily get to your experience for now. Later, once we're sure that adding all the additional server load for loading up, like starting up a new instance for those who maybe don't have a player currently in there, once we know that that doesn't overload everything and make everyone's experience bad in the metaverse, then we'll make it public. Everybody can have teleporters. The early plans right now is to have a teleporter like that be an NFT that we sell here, and then you can program it inside your game. But we'll get into more of that as it gets more solidified. That's sometime down the roadmap. So just keep that in mind. It is in the plans some point. Computer RL, how long until bookings expire? In previous sales, it has been as much as 2 hours. So just keep that in mind. I don't have a solid number on that because I didn't ask right before the show started. I probably should have. Let me see if I can get an answer here. Interesting. Okay. Let's see if I can get that question answered. All right. streaming, Twitch. I don't know if I can get that answered very quickly, but if there is a community manager who's watching this stream right now and you could answer it in our Slack channel on TSP Community Management, that would be very helpful to me. I have some unread mentions from Mike C. Oh, very good. Previous Euphoria sales. All right. So, really quickly, as we are getting close to the end of my stream, I want to keep answering questions. So if you guys have questions about the Sandbox and you'd like to have those answered, put them in the chat now. Otherwise, I'm going to highlight the fact that OpenSea.io will have these estates open up soon. You should be able to see some of these open. Keep an eye out on it as the day continues, as the week goes on. Look at these auctions. When they do open, they will open just for 24 hours. Okay. So these auctions for these larger estates will open up soon, available exclusively at OpenSea.io. Previous sales, a space like this has gone in the Euphoria sale for between, I think it was, let me see, he had the numbers for me. I think it was like 115,000 to 180,000 sand, depending on a various number of factors, some of them just competitiveness. But you can see there's also 3x3s available, which should go for a little bit less sand in that, but you never know. Obviously, it's been quite popular today. Very happy to see that, and hopefully you guys are seeing a product that you love, a product that you want to play and create in, and we'll see some great content come from these spaces. So, OpenSea, timed auctions, needs sand. Yes, to do. If you want to place a bid on those, you may need other things like ETH, but that's based on OpenSea.io's terms. I don't have the exact understanding of that. Previously, I have placed bids, and it only asked me to have sand in my account and didn't take anything from the account until the bids closed. Just keep that in mind. As long as you have the balance on your account of sand, your bids are good and eligible. It doesn't extract anything for making a bid, only just at the completion of the sale or the auction. So, okay, yeah. So Macaroni, just keep in mind, I mentioned before, cached data on your web browser could come up. Don't try to keep putting bids in for things. Make sure you refresh the page to see if it's actually available. Because I'll bet you if I click on this yellow one right now, you see how when I clicked on this premium land space, for just like a quarter of a second there, it showed that I could place a bid. That's because the cache data showed me that this was available, which is the data that my web browser has saved in order to help this web page load faster. But unfortunately, that data is not live data. That's my web browser trying to make it more convenient for me to see the thing it thinks I want to see. So this is, unfortunately, it's not something that's really in our control, regardless of how we code this website. That's going to be the case where your Chromium-based browsers will probably cache data that is outdated. So when I click on each and every one of these, for a brief second, they're going to say, here's some sand. No. You know, here we go. You could buy it in sand. No. Buy it in sand. No. Here's another one up here. Boop. No. Okay. And so, you know, the steps that we go through before we start these live streams is try to avoid all of the caching of data that we possibly can. So I talk about restarting your router, clearing your web browser's cache, that sort of thing. If I refresh right now, I can almost guarantee that the same 3 piece of yellow tiles, there they are, have loaded in the same way because of the way that the web browser caches my data. You can see that there, that these 3 are yellow. And again, I click them. They actually were probably booked by somebody. They're probably going to process very shortly. But until my web browser caches the new data on a permanent basis, saving it in my hard drive for it to load in an optimized way soon, they're going to continue to pop up like that. I could push F5 again, and I'm going to have the same exact problem where the same exact tiles are going to turn yellow again. Again, this is a web browser-based issue. It's not really something that we can control, but we try to give you the tips and tricks to make it so that you see that as little as possible. So don't keep putting bids in for those that you know you just saw and they just came back when you press F5. Because that's not going to work. The only thing that's going to work is the occasional one that pops open. As it pops open, you could attempt to do so, but just keep that in mind. Okay. JL Wrench. Hi, my land is confirmed on Etherscan, but still just shows as booked on the map. Any issues here? So this is in kind with the same thing I was just saying. Your web browser is caching data, but the data does not reflect the blockchain, because your web browser wants to make sure that if I push F5 right now, it loads as fast as possible. So your web browser is saving the images, it's saving the colors, it's saving all these sorts of things to try to make it load instantly or as close to. Alt F5 forces recaching data, right? So if I push Alt F5 right now, that doesn't appear to be working on. Are you sure it's not Control F5? It's Control F5. Control F5 refreshed, but I'm still seeing the same. But this is a different browser, then, so it may have different hotkeys. But just keep in mind that the cache data doesn't reflect what happens on chain. On-chain transactions are really the only thing that matters. Our booking system is here to help make sure that we don't have people double and triple attempting to book and paying excessive gas fees. But you have once you have your transaction on Etherscan, if you see it, it's in a transaction like this and it says success, you're good. It's done. It'll be in your account. It'll take just a little bit of time for the website to update the cache data in your browser, that sort of thing. So you're good. Control F5, yeah. So lands are booked by different wallets every time I click on it. Yeah, so that's, unfortunately, like I say, there's nothing we can do about cache data, but this is something that's come up. So I try to make sure that if you join me in the next, event, as we have in 7 days or so, when this timer is 2 hours before hitting 0, I'll be here live again. We'll talk about how to optimize your connection, optimize your cache data, so we can clean you out, get you nice and fresh and ready to go for the next sale. Because as soon as they open, if it's anything like this sale, they'll be sold out within the first 45 seconds. So hopefully we'll make that experience as good for you as possible. We've seen lots of users so far who have said that they've gotten those sales. But yeah, JL Wrench, congratulations. You did get yourself a land as long as it's processed on chain. You'll probably see it if you click me and you click inventory. You can see your lands. You might see it there. If you don't see it there, then go to OpenSea.io, check there. They may have less users on there right now than we do, because these sales are super, super hot right now. Got a lot of people having a good time trying to pick these up. So any update on the ability to combine lands into an estate? Darth, right now, that is still something that we have on the roadmap, but is not honestly a very high priority, because you can already do this. If you have lands that touch each other, you can make a game. Let's say you have a 2x2 square of lands, right? You can make a game experience, and when you go to publish it into the metaverse, which is a feature that we're right now just doing internally, but when your metaverse opens, you can publish it whether you have it on this page appearing to be an estate or not. You'll still be able to publish into that 2x2 space. So users can load it up. When they click on any of the 4 things, it'll say this is the game experience they're going to play. It's on a 2x2, right? It'll be made very clear. Now, the feature you're talking about is based on a Medium article we had that talked about districts. Okay, so the districting update and the update for estates is going to happen probably at the same time. But our dashboard team is working on lots of different things, currently focused on the market update. You may have noticed that in the last month or two, you've seen a series of updates coming to the market tab or the market button there on the left of the screen. And so once the marketplace is finished, then we can work on further updates. User access is the same team. We have teams all around the world, but among our 200 staffers in various different groups, this development team for this web UI specifically, is working on marketplace tasks first, and they want to make sure that you have the ability to push your art into the marketplace and then get that ready so that anybody could sell an NFT there. Then we can move on to different operations. The alpha, the same team is also working on user interface for your ability to zoom in on this map, pick an experience, and play an experience. Once they're done with those things, then we can work on things that are more convenience-based things like merging estates, things like that. But keep in mind, it is definitely on the workflow. So we do definitely want to see more of those images, more of those nice promotions that we see on the estates. But again, we want to make sure that we have what we would consider to be core features that the users have been clamoring for the last year plus done first, and then we can work on things that are more aesthetic features like that. So hope to see more. All right, let's see. So it's looking like we don't have a ton of questions coming back in the chat now. The time is now 6:36 a.m. my local time. And we are in the middle of reviewing your Game Jam number 4 games. Where, when the reviews are finished, when they've come back from the Ubisofts and the Square Enix and all of our reviewers and that sort of thing, then we will have an award ceremony for you guys where we'll be giving away 300,000 sand and a land NFT to each of the top 10 contestants. So I'm going to answer this question from Bump Galaxy in a second. But that award ceremony will happen right after these reviews are done, and I am on my way curating some of those experiences right now, some of those games to send off to those reviewers. So I want to get down to that. I'm going to answer this question from Bump Galaxy, and then that'll be all for today's stream. Bump Galaxy says, how would I know if my transaction is stuck? Well, Bump Galaxy, if you click on your transaction inside of MetaMask or Bitsky or Arcane, you should see the GWEI rate, the gas fee rate that you chose, right? You may also be able to see a button that says view it on Etherscan or similar, right? And you'll see something like this page if you can view it on Etherscan. And it'll say status and a projected time for your transaction to be approved. You'll see down here the gas price in GWI and the total transaction fee based on the complexity of the transaction possibly estimated there. Okay, if you chose a slow transaction intentionally or a low GWI rate intentionally, it can take longer for your transaction to process, because that is based on this median gas rate here. So an average transaction should have a setting around 16 GWI right now for the last 1,000 transactions. Okay, that transaction would take 4 minutes and 48 seconds to process. Same thing here. If you chose a fast transaction and you chose 17 GWI, it's going to take 30 seconds for your transaction to process on average. A low would take an average of 16 minutes to process at 10 GWI. If your GWI is set lower than that low rate, lower than 10, expect to wait longer than 16 minutes. However, if it's going to take longer than that, you might want to click like a speed up button or any other option that you might have, because the booking will only hold in here for about an hour, maybe 2, before it opens up and someone else could have an opportunity to buy. Just in case a user comes in and they only had 900 sand and they tried to book a land and they needed 1,011 or something like that, we want to make sure that they don't just get stuck in limbo forever. So there is a timeout period. Hammer Mike, good point in the chat here, folks. If you're watching and you're a new land owner, this is your first time getting land, you can mark yourself as a landowner in the private Discord channel, and you can chat with other landowners. Maybe you're talking about ideas for what to do with your land, where you can find artists to produce content for your land, where you can find game makers to produce content for your land so you can have a great experience. Maybe you're asking yourself for the first time, how do I even make a game? If you want to make it yourself or make a showcase, an experience, you can ask around on the Discord. Very helpful people there. Lots of ambassadors, lots of our staff, and lots of great community members who can help you with those kinds of questions. So for those watching, it's been a great time. This is all for me. I'm going to pump up the volume again for you. You could probably hear my cat going crazy in the background. He's super excited. It's time to wake up. He's saying, he hears an alarm and he's like, hey, get up. Get the heck up. It's a good morning. Everybody's gonna have a great time. Get up. That's what he's saying. Have a great day, everybody. I appreciate you. I'll see you in a week on Thursday. I'll see you on Saturday. I'll see you on Monday with Panda Pops. I'll see you on Wednesday. We're going to be back here. YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, everywhere. DLive, doesn't matter. I'll see you. It's been a great time. Have a good day.